Hello, and welcome to the Tesla Man Japan podcast. I am James. I run the Tesla Man Japan channel, and I am joined by yet another Tesla owner here in Japan, my very special guest, Mr. Ali Kajue.
Yes, thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much for joining me, Ali. So very special because this is a car YouTube channel, and we have a car designer joining us today, which is fantastic. Yeah, really amazing. Thank you so much for having us on. So as usual, we're going to start the show with the usual questions. Ali's going to talk about what car he has, and then later in the show we'll talk about a little bit more Ali specific topics, things that he's specialized on. And so it should be a good fun show. Right then. So the first questions we have, the usual ones. First of all, what car do you currently own? What what type, what color, what extras, all that kind of good stuff.
Oh, sure. I usually say I own the cheapest Tesla possible.
Me too.
Yeah, I own this Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus, white, black interior, 2020.
Oh, okay.
And it was definitely the cheapest one I could go for. I remember there was this term they would say Tesla stretch or something. You really stretch yourself and you get a Tesla. That's what I did.
So pretty much exactly the same as me, just 1 year earlier.
Oh basically. Yeah, you have 2021.
2021, December 2021. Yeah.
Do you have the new console?
I believe so. Yes.
It's not the one with piano black surface all on top of it.
No,
Does it have a lid on top of the USB, on top of the phone charger? Does it have a lid on top of it or not?
The phone inside the center console. It has a sliding part.
Sliding.
It's got USB-C inside. Yeah, two USB-Cs.
True. Yeah, that's the new one.
Center console is older one, so it's not
older
USB-C.
One. Yeah. It's not USB-C. It's like normal USB-A. Right. And also it doesn't have the wireless chargers.
Right. So you've got some nice wired sockets that you kind of feed through the back, right? And you put into
originally. And then I got one of those aftermarket. I think the name of the brand is Jeddah.
Right.
Yeah, one of those. So it turned it into a wireless charger for the phone. Yeah, but originally the one that you get is not a wireless charger on these old consoles. Yeah.
Right, yes, I remember.
Sorry, a bit too nerdy, but sorry.
No. When I was researching before I got my Tesla, I watched videos about Tesla, and they all had those center consoles. I was very happy that I was the first car to have the wireless ones. I was very, very lucky to be the first to have that. Yeah.
True.
Because I just recently switched my phone to an iPhone that does have wireless charging. For a long time, I didn't have a phone that had wireless. So it was kind of very fortuitous timing.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right then. So 2020. So I got a CHAdeMO charger free with mine, but I didn't get a J1772. I've talked about that on previous podcasts. So how about you? What freebies did you get?
Yeah. It was also when I got my car, they would offer one of the charge options for free. So they would say you can either get the CHAdeMO adapter, or you can get a mobile connector, or you can get a wall connector for free.
Oh, for your house,
Yes, but the house, because back then I was living in Kobe, and the whole electric car story started because the house that we rented happened to have one of those 200-volt plugs for charging the car.
Oh, nice.
And that's how it all started, Nice. And so, but because the house was a rented house, I couldn't get the wall connector.
Right.
And then I was thinking, should I get the mobile charger or should I get the CHAdeMO? And the guy actually told me, you can get the more expensive one for free and buy the cheaper one if you need both of them. Nice. And that's how I did it. So I got the CHAdeMO for free, and then I bought the mobile connector also.
Right. Excellent. Yeah, that's exactly the same as me.
Yeah.
I just happened to get the CHAdeMO. I think everyone got the CHAdeMO adapter. Unfortunately, I didn't get a choice. I had to get the CHAdeMO adapter. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there was no choice by the time I got mine. Excellent. So, are there anything else that you added to your car? So you had the wireless charger added to it. Is there anything else you added?
Yeah, that wireless charger I added it later. Sorry, can I turn on the feedback on? Sorry. Okay, because I couldn't hear my own voice. I think I was shouting.
I see.
No yes. So I got the wireless charger later. But when I got the car, right away, I got the floor mats for the car. And also I got the floor mat, like the mat for inside the frunk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I think, all the accessories I got was the mat of the frunk, the floor mats, and I guess the cables back then for charging your phone was also an accessory that I got. And then later I got the Jeddah wireless charger. Yeah.
Oh, so you don't get any floor mats in 2020?
No, there was. Yeah, I mean it was the original carpet of the car, and then there was no floor mat on top of it. So yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Oh, did it come for free for you?
I think before I got my Tesla, I was researching people in the States, and they complained about there were no floor mats. So yeah, I thought that was quite strange because it was quite expensive to buy them. But when I got mine, they came with floor mats.
Oh.
Yeah. So I think Scott, who was on the first episode of this podcast, he said he also didn't get any floor mats, but he had a frunk mat for free. So they've really changed what you get for free. Has really changed.
Yeah, exactly. No, for me, I had to get all of them. Yeah, like the frunk and the floor mat. Yeah.
I haven't got a frunk mat actually.
And I remember, I remember I was very upset because right before I get the car, all the Model 3s had those little hooks inside the frunk that you could put the shopping bag and stuff. And right when I got mine, they were removed, so mine doesn't have those hooks. Yeah. Yes,
that again, the guy that I was talking about, Scott, he talks about how much he loves those hooks, and I don't have them. I don't have them either. What does the frunk mat add to it? Why did you feel that you needed that? Do you use it for shopping a lot, or?
Yes, I do. Yeah, and it makes the frunk of the car a little bit more. How should I put it? Like it makes it feel more clean. So it's. Like when you open it and there's like a carpet in the front, you feel like, oh, I can put nice stuff here. I can even put like my coat here or something. But when it's the plastic, you feel a little bit, like, should I,
Yeah.
So it's like, it gives this like more homey feeling to the front. Yeah. Yeah, I use the front a lot.
It feels like, just like a dirty truck, doesn't it? When you just throw dirty things in the back of a truck, it's like that,
exactly.
Right? Without anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And
then with the mat, it feels more like the trunk of the nice car, Yeah.
Exactly. Excellent. Okay, so the next question is biggest positives and negatives of owning your Model 3. Let's start with the positives. What do you love about your car?
Well, maybe for that I should just go a little bit back and talk a little bit about like my previous car. Before that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Because
not a Tesla, right?
Yes, no, another electric one. Because as I said, like the house that we got in Kobe just happened to have that plug for electric cars, and well, as you know, Japan is a country that you don't necessarily need a car. Yeah, I mean, a lot of places you can just go by train, and like the public transportation is amazing here. And back in Kobe, it was the same. It was really good, and I was always like going to work by like train and bus, and there was no problem. Right. But then our company started making this new building in the middle of nowhere, and I was like, okay, I need to get a car. And then because of that plug, I started like studying about like electric cars more, and like is anything possible? Is anything available in Japan? And back then, there was no Model 3. There was the Model S, the Model X, and there was a Leaf, and there was BMW i3, and there was Mitsubishi i-MiEV. And among those, I couldn't get myself to buy the iMeave or the Leaf, and the Model S
the range was too short, or
the range was too short. The design of the car wasn't me, so I was like no. And then the Model S was like too expensive and much older than me. And I was like, oh, BMW i3 looks like a good candidate. And then I started looking around, and that car is kind of expensive. But then the second-hand ones are pretty good price. And I could find this second-hand i3 in Yokohama. And then I bought that one through the internet. I didn't even see the car. I just checked everything, and it seems like it was a dealer car. So it was for test drives and stuff in the BMW dealer. But it was basically half price, even a little less than half price.
Ooh,
and then I just
nice.
got it, and I got it delivered to Kobe. And yeah, I had that car for like 2.5 years almost.
Wow.
Really fun car.
So for those that don't know what the iMeave is, this is the one that Ali decided not to get.
Yes. True.
I can kind of understand it.
Yeah. I mean, this car was quite an important car. It was like one of the first mass production electric cars, and definitely one of the first in Japan and one of the first in the world also. And still it's driving around and everything. But yeah, the range is too small and too short, and the battery is too small, and the technology is a little bit too old. And
I don't think I've ever seen one.
There's a lot of them. Yeah. In Japan, there's a lot of them. Yeah. But the thing is, this car was released also in ICE version, and a lot of times you see the car and then you can notice the exhaust pipe, and it means that's not the electric version.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, also like there was back then Nissan Leaf was the first generation Nissan Leaf.
Right. Yeah.
So the design was also not very exciting on the Leaf,
Yeah, it's quite similar to the iMeave, to be honest. The first version is very simple design.
Yeah. That's like the old futuristic design, like.
Yeah.
That was what was signaling as like, oh, this is a futuristic car. It has all these curves and yeah.
When was the first Leaf? Was it before 2010, right?
I guess it was right around that time. Yeah. I guess, yeah.
And so you opted for the BMW i8.
i3.
i3, sorry, yes. i8 is the little bit bigger one, right?
i8 is the little bit bigger one, and it's a hybrid.
Oh, it is?
Oh, yeah. Lots of people don't know that, but yeah, i8 is a hybrid car, and i3 used to be the only electric car from BMW for quite a long time. Yeah.
Yes, I've got a picture of it right here. Yeah, I've seen one of these. I've charged next to one of these. Not at a supercharger, but at a CHAdeMO charger. I've charged next to one of these, and I really like it. It's a cute design, and it's good for like a small family, right?
If you put a 2015 in front of that BMW i3, you will get the older face with the round fog lights.
Okay. i3 2015.
15, yes.
And that's the one that you had?
Yeah, and you can see the difference. Yeah, the fog lights or the headlights are a little bit different. They're round. Yes,
this one?
Those. Yes, yeah.
Cute.
Yeah.
Charging ports. Why are they two?
That's a very good question. Because i3 has two versions. One is a pure electric one, a BEV.
Yeah.
And the other one is a range extender, which has a little engine in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that engine is not connected to the wheels. It's just in charge of charging the battery.
Wow, that seems very counterproductive, doesn't it? Using a lot of energy to do that.
Yeah, and then you have to carry that engine and the fuel tank and everything everywhere. And it gives you, like, I think, for example, i3 can go something around like 120 kilometers per charge.
Okay, that's pretty good.
And with the range extender, you get something similar to like plus 100 kilometers, yeah?
Okay.
So it would be it could be like a logical choice for some people, but when I was going for my i3, I did a little bit of research and I ended up not getting the range extender. I went for the pure electric because that was like shorter range, but it was more efficient and there was no maintenance and nothing, so it was much easier. Yeah, so I just went for the electric one.
That's a lot of that's the main thing that the battery electric vehicle fans, not just Tesla fans, but all electric vehicle fans complain is these plug-in hybrids. They're too complicated, too many moving parts, too many things that can go wrong, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, some people say that with a plug-in hybrid, you get the good of the both worlds.
Right.
You get the good of electric with all the torque and all the acceleration and stuff, and you get the good of gasoline cars with the range. But you can also say that argue that you get the bad of both worlds too, because you get a little bit smaller battery, so you have a shorter range for your electric mode, and also you get all the hassle of maintenance and changing the oil and everything that you usually don't get when you get a electric car. So it's
that's
one of
the
those
main positives, isn't it, of electric cars? You don't have to worry about the oil.
True. Yeah.
The only liquid you add is for your windscreen wiper liquid.
Yeah, and that's quite fun. And before moving to electric cars and before moving to pure electric cars, even if you're driving a plug-in hybrid, these things are kind of not very easily imaginable for you. So true. Yeah. So sorry, going back to the i3. So I'm coming to Tesla from a BMW i3,
right?
And that's how I can talk about like what are the good things about the i3 about the Tesla for me. And simply said, Tesla is of course a newer technology, but it's a main product for a company that cares for that product. Whereas in the BMW case, it was a bit older technology and it was not a very important product for the brand, and the brand was not really caring about it that much. So like even when I went to the dealer to get a test drive for the i3, the guy at the dealer was telling me like, oh, but do you want to get a diesel one? Like they were not really keen to sell the electric car, and you could see it in the attitude of the brand. There was no update for the car, and the car was feeling a little bit of a one-off experiment. It was very innovative for its time, but it was just left back in that time. I mean, still, if you look at the car, it looks very good, and the interior looks very futuristic, but that's about it. But Tesla, you're getting all these updates and you feel that your car is like growing and evolving and the company cares about it, and you have this like feedbacks of people are like, oh, I don't want this is like this has a bug or whatever, and you get the next update and it's fixed. There's like a more lively connection with your product and your brand. So that's probably the thing that I really enjoy about my car now. Yeah.
Right. Some people like to call it a smartphone on wheels, right?
True. And it's not one of those smartphones that you buy it and after 6 months you don't get any updates. It's one of those smartphones that you'll get updates,
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, awesome. So well, obviously that you had enough negatives about the BMW to change to the Tesla, but do you have any negatives about the Tesla? Is there any good points that the BMW had over Tesla, or is it?
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, just for the record, BMW was really fun. It was a small car. It was light. The whole body was made of carbon, so it was really light, and it was very, very fun to drive car. And
good for the Japanese roads as well, I guess.
It was perfect for Japan. Yeah, the size is really good for Japan. Of course, the range wasn't too long, but also Japan is like not that difficult to go from city to city for less than 100 kilometers, and there's a lot of chargers in Japan also. Like I drove a lot with that car. I went to like north of Kyoto. I went to Hiroshima. I traveled a lot with that car.
Wow. From
Yeah.
are you in the Tokyo area?
I was in Kobe. Yeah, no,
Oh, Kobe,
in Kansai.
okay.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see. Okay,
But
so
it was
a few hundred kilometers, yeah.
true.
So
True.
are you charging at BMW dealers, or what kind of things are you charging at?
Yeah, that's one of those things again. Like BMW didn't really have any chargers. Even like, yeah, you had to go to Nissan dealers or Mitsubishi dealers, you know. But mainly, I was charging at the parking areas on the highway or the Nissan dealers, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nissan, they don't look at you strangely, like, why are
No,
you bringing
actually,
a BMW here?
I mean, it's Japan. People are awesome. People are very nice and polite, and no, everybody was very, very welcoming. And like usually, they would come out and they would check out the car, and they're like, "Oh, this is really cool. Like thank you for coming here and charging." You know, yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Nice. So did you end up buying one of those Nissan cards, like a monthly payment system?
No, because I was mainly charging at home, and I
Right.
was mainly using it for commuting, and like traveling was not like a big chunk of my usage. So I would just use this like visitor charging system. You would just read this like QR code and add your credit card, and then you would charge one time.
Right.
It was a little bit more expensive than like having those cards, but it was good for not doing it all the time, you know.
Right. It's a little bit different, like 49 yen per kilowatt instead of 39 or something like that. Right?
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
10 yen difference, right? Something
Yeah,
like
and
that.
also it depends on the place. Like if I want to say quite roughly, the Nissan dealers, the Mitsubishi dealers, like one-time charge was something around 500, 600 yen. And the same thing on the parking area was something around 1,500 or something.
I see.
Yeah, but that was with the visitor. I think with the cards you could get better price, especially on the parking area chargers. Yeah.
I recently visited a Mercedes dealership, and they had an electric charger. I wonder how much they charge for using their very fancy Tadamo charger. Probably a little bit more than Nissan, I would guess.
Most probably.
Excellent. So,
Oh, sorry. So
any
you were
negatives
asking,
for Tesla?
negatives about Tesla. Well, negatives about Tesla. I have to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think
in the memo you wrote something about occasional bugs and navigation. A little bit needs a bit of polishing.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, sometimes after the updates you get some bugs and like you have to restart the screen or something. It's happening less and less. It was happening more often in the beginning. It's getting more and more polished, of course. And yeah, and the other one is navigation. Like the navigation in Japan, Google Map is still a little bit like lacking back behind in Japan. So there's a lot of cases that you would trust the navigation on your Tesla, and it would take you to this very narrow alleys, and it's very difficult to maneuver your car around. Yeah,
I have had that. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So that's one of the things. They're improving it, I guess. And there's also like, this is just a personal opinion, but like recently they added these graphics that show like, oh, this is the exit that you have to take to get off the highway or whatever, and it has this like pictures of like the sky and whatever.
Right. The orange arrows or whatever, right?
Yes, yeah, and it has like this like kind of schematic images of like that part of the highway or whatever. But the graphics of it, they just feel a little bit too old to me. I mean, I know in the US, I guess they have those stay in this lane or stay in those two right lanes and then like get off on this exit or whatever. It's more like modern graphic. I don't know. This one looks a little bit old, kind of, you know.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that they have it though, because I think when I first got my Tesla, I don't think they had the stay in the right lane kind of thing. It was a little bit more vague.
True.
I definitely remember missing at least one exit because
Yeah.
I didn't understand what it was saying. It was like,
Yeah.
it's a little bit more clear, but yeah, I know what you mean. It doesn't look
Yeah.
visually pleasing. Yeah.
True. And also, I mean, just to mention, for example, the i3 would tell you to stay in which lane. Like it would suggest like there is like 3 lanes, and I would suggest you stay in these like 2 lanes of the right or whatever. But as you have seen in the Tesla, there's no mention of the lanes. It usually just near the exit says, "Oh, this is the exit you have to take," or whatever. It doesn't tell you like from like 2 kilometers before that. Oh, stay in the left lane or whatever.
Yeah, it says, like, I forgot the word it uses now. Is it stay to the right or something like that? It's very
Yeah, it's usually
generic
like
word.
yeah.
Yeah,
In the i3 one, it was like more specific
more
about like
specific. Yeah,
what lane to stay at and stuff. Yeah.
yeah. I wonder if that's just a case of the navigation being not updated as much in Japan compared to the US, for example.
My guess is that because the navigation data and the map data are kind of separate. It seems like so the
Yeah.
map data is coming from the Google, and the navigation is usually another company.
Yeah.
And I guess that the navigation data for Japan and the visualization of it is from this other company, and maybe that's one of the features that they haven't turned on for the Teslas. I don't know.
And I believe navigation, like visual navigation systems, have been available much longer in Japan compared to other countries. Like, because the roads are so confusing here, you really need it.
Yeah.
So even cars from 20 years ago, they had it, and we didn't
True.
have it in, I'm from the UK. It was very rare to have a navigation system in a car. We just didn't use them. So coming to Japan, having these big colored screens, with all these visualizations, it was like, wow, these are amazing. And it does feel like Tesla is not up to that. It does feel like maybe the Japanese are a little bit ahead in that regard. So maybe they just haven't merged as well.
What I would say is like, of course, in Japan, I'm not sure if like Japan. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the oldest country to have like these navigations, but it's definitely one of the ones that these navigations were very popular.
Yeah.
And they also like they have this habit of making everything pretty good and pretty precise. So the navigations in Japan are usually very precise, and they give you a lot of information, sometimes too much, and it's telling you all about like the company in front of you and all these things.
Right.
But
Unnecessary.
unnecessary.
Yeah.
But just to be honest, I find the navigation systems in Japan, from the user interface perspective, they're a little bit too much information and not a very good hierarchy between information. And I don't know, like in general, I find the UI graphical design of them a little bit old school. In that sense, I really prefer the Tesla one. It's much easier and more intuitive. It's more similar to how we have the maps on our phones.
Yeah, I don't think any of the Japanese manufacturers use Google Maps, which is quite
No, they
unusual,
don't.
right?
Yeah, they don't. And also, like even like simple things like navigating your screen around on the map and like panning around and stuff. It's very different and very old school, So
that's right. It's, to use a technical term, they use the resistive touchscreens as opposed to the capacitive touchscreens, which is what we use on the smartphone.
True.
So, in other words, you have to hard tap the screens in most Japanese cars. It's
yes,
like that.
and even with the new ones that you have the capacitive and you don't need to press hard because the software is old, you can't just tap and move it around. You have to like tap, and it's gonna just like move the camera around your tapping places. So yeah, the UI is a little bit too old.
Yeah, it's some technology is like that in Japan, where like this. Japan starts off so far ahead of other countries, but then they kind of stop. They don't develop any further. So like, with phones, for example, like the Japanese smartphones were, 20 years ahead of the Western world, but then they stopped, making new things. And then the iPhone came out and completely destroyed the Japanese phone market.
No, that's true. Yeah,
Kind of
I
like
mean,
that, right?
if you ask me, Japan is really good at refining and like evolutional advancement of technology. So if you consider, like, for example, the old phone, like mobile phone technology, or even the smartphones, like Japan is really good at getting that technology and like refining it and making it better and better. They have this term kaizen, which is like continuous small improvements. They're really good at that. But there's this old saying that says, no matter how many times you improve and evolve a candle, you wouldn't end up with a bulb like electric light.
That's
So
good. I like that expression. That's good.
yeah, so like sometimes you need to just break free from whatever you're
Right.
doing and just change the paradigm. And Japan is really that's not Japan's strongest suit. So that's what usually happens, like especially with like disrupting technology, like as we see with like the iPhone or Tesla and stuff. When you have some disruptive technology, Japan is kind of slow to adapt it and jump on it.
Yeah, I mean, sticking with the phone kind of comparison, I remember when I first came in Japan, like 2004, 2005, the flip phones were very popular, of course, and they had navigation systems like
Yeah,
in color, and we didn't have anything like that in the West. So
true.
that's a case where Japanese navigation systems were way ahead. But then
Yeah,
now,
yeah,
2023, the map systems in cars are still kind of using the same technology.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. There's this mindset of it's working and we can improve it a
yeah,
little bit and it's gonna sell still. So there's no need to just disrupt it all. But then while you're doing these little things, Apple comes, Google comes, and then
right.
things change, and you're gonna be left behind. It's really dangerous, actually. Yeah.
So the next topic was charging, but I believe we've kind of covered that, right? You mostly charge at home,
True.
uh,
Yeah.
or occasionally in Nissan dealers, I guess.
Not anymore. Not
No,
anymore.
not okay. So
Yeah. Yeah.
when you're going on road trips, I assume you're just using Tesla superchargers.
True. Yeah. Nowadays, the Tesla superchargers are getting more and more in Japan. So, yeah. I mean, I've got the CHAdeMO adapter for my car, but I think I've used it like once, maybe.
Oh, so you live
Yeah.
near a supercharger?
Yeah, there's a supercharger near us, but also like superchargers are mainly for traveling. And when you're traveling, especially if you're going around the main cities in Japan, like for example, now we live in Nagoya, and going from Nagoya to
Oh,
Tokyo, or going from Nagoya to Kobe or Hiroshima, there's a lot of very well positioned superchargers on the way that you can just make your travel and like charge in the superchargers and have no problems. So that's how it usually works for me when I'm traveling around.
nice. Oh, I might be going to Nagoya soon, actually. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, drop me a message. We
Yeah.
can go for a coffee.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's actually something related to the YouTube channel, but it's a secret at the moment. So I'll have to tell you later.
Sure, sure.
But yeah, Nagoya's great. I love Nagoya.
Yeah, it's pretty
Um,
good.
so fantastic. Okay, cool. Well, we've covered all the basic questions now. I think we know Ali's history with his cars, his Tesla, and what he's got and what he's doing with it. So maybe actually talking about superchargers, just before we go to the next topic, what is the furthest you've been using the supercharger network, and did you have any trouble being in places which didn't have superchargers and you got stuck or anything like that?
I guess the furthest I've been was once we went to Takayama and Nagano, and we went to some areas in that part, like like around like Gifu and Gero, and this is back when we were in Kobe. So we drove
Okay.
from Kobe and we came to Nagano and Takayama, and that was the furthest we were from superchargers. And I remember we had to. That's when we had to use the CHAdeMO adapter. for charging. But I guess now there is also superchargers in Nagano. So
Okay. I was just checking Google Maps just to help people understand who might not know the geography of Japan. So from Kobe is down here,
yeah.
and Takayama is up here.
Yeah, so I went to Takayama, and then I went even further to Nagano,
Oh,
and
right,
then yeah,
over here.
yeah, exactly. And then I like now I guess there's superchargers there, but back then there was no supercharger over there, so I had to charge in Kyoto and Nagoya, and then I went up there and I had to charge with a Chademo charger over there.
Right. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think Nagoya has quite a few.
Yes,
Maybe 3 or 4 or 5, maybe.
I guess
And
yeah.
and I think we got an update on the phone. The Tesla in Japan have a Line account. Line is a messaging service that's very popular here, and they just announced another one for Nagoya.
Oh, awesome! Didn't know that.
Yeah. Awesome. So let's go on to the more Ali special topics. So yeah, you've talked about your BMW. You couldn't see yourself ever going back to another BMW, a bigger one like the i8 or something like that. Are you happy with Tesla? Would your next car be a Tesla, or would you
I'm
consider another brand? Or
I'm pretty sure my next car is going to be Tesla. Yeah, it's like,
Model
yeah, I
Y,
think.
or
Uh, I mean, I'm really enjoying the Model 3. Model Y is very good car and it's much more functional, of course. And I see it around nowadays in Nagoya. There's a couple of them driving around our neighborhood, and they look really good, of course.
yeah,
But I guess I will keep my Model 3 for quite a long time because I really like it.
same.
And if I could get like if I had to change my car, then I could get a car from Tesla. And it would be any car. It would be a Cybertruck, But of course, that was not for Japan.
Yes, maybe only in museums or like special exhibitions or something like that, right? Like an
Yeah,
event,
unfortunately.
maybe. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure there is some enthusiast Japanese guys are gonna import some of the Cybertrucks as soon as they're available. But
right.
I'm dying to see one of them up close. But yeah, I guess that would be the car that I would consider changing my car for. Otherwise,
Yeah.
I guess I'm really enjoying the Model 3 now.
So yeah, somebody will import one, and we can go to like a car meet or some festival, and maybe have a look at it like that. But that's the
For
closest
sure.
we're gonna get. Don't think we're ever
Yeah.
gonna own one. Right then. So actually, yeah, Cybertruck. I was actually gonna talk about your car designing. Maybe Cybertruck's a good kind of launch point because, well, you obviously like the Cybertruck design. A lot of people don't like it. So, what is your opinion as a professional
Yeah,
car
sure.
designer?
No, Cybertruck is
Yeah.
one of those like explosive things in the world of car design, and there's, as you say, it's a love or hate product. And one of the things that happened with Cybertruck was, I guess, almost everybody in the first couple, like your time knowing about Cybertruck is usually divided in the first part of it, which you kind of are shocked and surprised,
Yeah.
and maybe you even hate it. And there's
Mhm.
a point that it flips. And for me, it was the same. Like I was watching it live, and when it came up on the stage, I was like, What's happening here?"
Right.
But Cybertruck is one of those products that you're really gonna appreciate it when you learn more and more about it, and that's one of the ways that you're gonna appreciate it. But also the other thing is, it's one of those things that it's really it feels so different from everything else that it's gonna just shock you. And uh, personally, because I'm now working as a car designer, but originally I'm an industrial designer. I'm a product designer, so
Mm.
I'm looking
I've
at cars as a product. And yeah, these are a couple of old
Yeah,
sketches. Yeah.
we're watching some of Ali's designs here. If you're watching the YouTube version.
Yeah. This is one of the old sketches from the university time. Yeah, but as I was saying, like, yeah, I'm looking at cars as one product, and Cybertruck is one of those products that really makes sense when you think about it. It's designed for a purpose, and it's really like ticking all the boxes for that purpose. So yeah, I'm really excited about it. But I know in the world of car design, there's now more and more people getting excited because traditionally in the car world, there's a lot of concept cars, and they might be
Yes.
crazy and they might be very interesting, but it's usually they don't come to reality. And there was a very big skeptic among car designers that is this Cybertruck gonna actually make it to production with that design and that shape? And
Yeah.
but it did, and it's really, yeah, I think it's kind of bringing a lot of car designers to the over the fence, because they're like, yeah, of course we love to do like new interesting things, and this is breaking a lot of the paradigms, and we hope other companies also like get brave to break the molds, both on the styling part and also on the manufacturing technology part.
The Model 3, I mean, some people, when it first got released, didn't really like the design. I think I don't really hear people complaining about Model 3's design recently. But definitely when it first came out, people said, it looked like a frog or something like that.
Yeah.
And I always wondered, like, what did Japanese people think of the design? But like most of the comments I get from Japanese people are quite positive, and they say it looks like a sports car. It's like, and they think, oh, I'm the guy with the sports car. It's like, but I don't consider my car a sports car. It's a family car. It's got 5 seats, and you go
Yeah.
shopping in it. But people here seem to really look at it in a different way than
Yeah,
maybe
that's
I've heard in other countries. I don't hear it being talked in that way in the Western media.
Yeah, no, definitely. But one of the things about Model 3 is, from the proportions perspective, that car has a very traditional and well balanced and kind of familiar proportions, and it's a very nice, like, especially from the side view, you can appreciate the Model 3's beauty, and it's designed in a very like timeless manner, and that car is not going to get old that easily.
Right.
But that's the difference with the Cybertruck, because if you look at the side view of Cybertruck, it's just breaking all the rules and it's breaking all the traditions. So that's maybe the beauty of it. And I mean, there was always crazy triangular show cars and concept cars back in the days, but yeah, it's really interesting to see that one coming as a production car.
Yeah, I mean, it does look like almost like a child's design of what a future car looks like, right?
Yeah.
But it is actually real. That's
Yeah,
the crazy thing.
especially if that child was really into Lamborghini Countach and those kind of cars.
That's true. Yeah, actually, I went to the Tokyo Supercar show and saw one of those for the first time in real life, and
Yeah.
that was the first video I made for this channel. Actually, was that Supercar show. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, when you see those kind of cars, then you can appreciate like how cars can get wilder than what we're used to now, and then how this one is kind of breaking the norm, and like some say it's futuristic, some say it's actually retro, and it's kind of bringing that old Lamborghini Countach and that era's styling back again.
And talking about Japanese car designers, it was quite a recent news actually that Toyota, I don't know if you read this news story, that someone at the Toyota called the Model Y teardown a work of art. So obviously they'd bought a Model Y and torn it down and see how it works. And yeah, it's apparently leagues ahead of anything they're doing there.
Yeah,
Toyota.
I'm sure
Yeah.
you're familiar with Sandy Monroe and how he's tearing
Yeah,
down
yeah.
the cars. Yeah, and that's one of the ways you can see and appreciate this car. But yeah, definitely this is like a different league. It's like the way Tesla is dealing with designing the car, engineering the car, and manufacturing the car is really really different from all other companies. Yeah.
Maybe it's a bit unfair to ask you this question with only 10 minutes left, but what are your opinions on why do you think Japanese car design is so being held back, and not mainly for like electric cars? Like only now we're beginning to see Japanese car makers kind of waking up to battery electric cars. Like, why do you think that is? Why do you think now? Why not 10 years ago?
Oh, well, the thing is, they started 10 years ago, but
Yeah, that's the weird thing, right? With the Leaf.
yeah, they were those
And then stopped.
yeah, among those companies that started early. But yeah, I guess there's a lot of different reasons for that. We can go from very very simple reasons of the market in Japan and how it's kind of going on a different route from other markets, and the country is getting old, and it's a shrinking market. The number of cars sold in Japan is like getting fewer and fewer in every year. And also there's like K cars that they have like their really strong place in Japan.
Right.
And on the other hand, there's this inertia between among not only Japanese OEMs but like a lot of big companies, and it's really difficult to turn around and like completely change the way you're dealing with your product and your technology and the whole supplier chain and stuff. So it is a big move. And yeah, unfortunately, so far Japan has been a little bit late on that and slow. And the biggest threat is actually coming from China, and how they actually they kind of went for leapfrogging, and they jumped on electric cars head on, and they started like directly working on them. And I'm sure like for example, BYD recently
Yeah.
started selling cars in Japan, and those kind of Chinese brands, uh, they've been working on these electric cars for years, but it's gonna seem like out of the blue they will come and get a big chunk of the market, I'm sure. So
Yeah.
it's one of those things. Yeah, I think we can go on the conspiracy theory route, but I guess like these are enough reasons for big OEMs like and legacy car makers to kind of lag behind, and not being able. I mean,
Right.
to be fair, it's really difficult to do that. It's not an easy shift.
Yeah, I made a video about BYD and how they're going to come out with a K car, an electric K car in Japan. And it's like, well, where's the Japanese electric K
Yeah,
car? It's,
true. I mean,
I
to be
I think
fair,
Suzuki are going to make one as well. But
I need to mention two things. One is like I guess you're talking about BYD Dolphin, and
yeah, is that the smaller one? Yeah.
yeah, that's the smaller one, but that's not a K car, because K car has a very like strict definition in Japan. It's
Mm.
the size of the car should be like by millimeter inside some limitations and stuff. So that car is not going to be a K car.
So
Uh,
Nissan Sakura is a
that
K
one
car, right?
is, yeah. So far there are three. Well, yeah, mainly I would say four. There are two Mitsubishi electric cars, three actually. There's one van also. So the iMeave and the van, and then there's a new Mitsubishi electric car, which is the sister car of the Nissan Sakura. And these are like the K electric cars in the market now in Japan. Yeah, there's talks about like Suzuki and other brands also bringing them to the market, but
Yeah.
the reality is like, yeah, come on, it needed to happen way
Yeah.
before, and yeah, too little, too late. So please, like, come on, Japan, you can do it.
They can do it. I believe in them.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, we are reaching the end of the show here, but really fascinating talk. As I expected, there was a lot of car design chat. I was hoping that we would get into a little bit of car design chat. So I'm glad that happened.
No,
But,
thank you for having me.
No, absolutely, and you're welcome to come back and talk about a different topic or anything that's on your mind.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, thank you once again, Ali. So yeah, I'll put the details of how to follow Ali on his Twitter or his website, and yeah, please follow him on there. And that's how I found him. I found Ali on Twitter. So yeah, and I'm glad we could contact and then make this thing happen.
Yeah, no, thank you. It was really good chat. I really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Ali. So that is the end of this episode, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.